we're here today for the Fashion Fusion event, which is an exciting event, one of the most exciting events for our fashion program. And this is great. This gives the students an opportunity to show off their hard work and their creative capacities, and we love this for that reason. And it's a great partnership with the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston. So we're excited about what we're going to see today, and we're especially so proud of our students. This is their handiwork, and it's just great.
It began because at the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, we wanted young designers to interpret works of art in our permanent collections and our special exhibitions, to bring a kind of new perspective, and particularly with their edgy designs and new materials, to turn the works of art that we have into something new. And so it has just worked so beautifully, and each year they're interpreting different art from different parts of the world and across cultures and time. Oftentimes we have designers interpreting the same work of art, and that is such a thrill for us because it's a really important lesson that we always need to remind ourselves of, and that is that everyone sees a work of art in different ways. And the inspiration really comes from within. So it's the designer who's engaged with the work of art, each one differently, and they're coming up with a totally different interpretation. And that is such a wonderful commentary really on the power of art and how you can look at it from any perspective and get something out of it for yourself and for others.
The Museum of Fine Arts has been recognized throughout the country. Museums have never done anything like this, where they marry art with fashion, and then you give us categories like sustainability, and you let these young designers go crazy with their thoughts. And remember, this is a competition. So all the kids that have created things that didn't walk this runway, they're all still so deserving. So it's been a very exciting adventure every year. I am so thrilled with tonight. Thinking back probably more than 10, 11 years ago when Carolyn Gazer, Linda Kirkendall, and I sat down here at the museum and thought, what should we do to create something fun and fashion? Of course we thought of Houston Community College because of Kay King. We all loved Kay King enormously. She had such a thumbprint on fashion designers from all over the country. So we came up with Fashion Fusion. So of course Suzette said yes, Houston Community College said yes. So that was our maiden voyage in 2015. And 20 outfits every year times, oh my gosh, wait till next year and the anniversary. It's going to be amazing.
It's their first step to public exposure on a grand scale. Many of them don't really get to show their designs. Maybe some of them will do it on social media, show it to friends or family, or even at one of our fashion shows. But this is kind of like their grand entrance to the public, and it's great for networking. It's great for them to meet with the professionals, and for the professionals to say, hey, that's an amazing piece. I think I want you to come work for me.
It gives us a chance to really meet some of the designers that are up and coming and see who's going to be next. I mean, what's more exciting than knowing who is going to be the next Project Runway kind of designer out there? So we at Neiman Marcus are obviously looking for somebody who is not only whimsical, imaginative, creative, but also has that commercial aspect as well. I'm looking for somebody that can take their inspiration and bring it to life. Someone that has a point of view that isn't afraid necessarily to push the boundaries, but also that can translate into something that people actually want to wear. So I think that's what I'm looking for tonight, and I'm excited to see the final pieces walk the runway.
I'm really looking for creativity because it is a show based on art, well construction, one that follows the theme, and it's also at the same time gives you a fantasy. What real fashion is, it actually takes you to another level and makes you dream more.
This would be Fashion Fusion 9. So we started in 2015 with the Habsburgs, and we followed with Sculpted in Steel, Alice Utopia, Oscar de la Renta, Van Gogh, the galleries in the Law Building, the galleries in Kinder Morgan Building, and the Art of the Islamic World. And now it's Fashion Fusion 9, which is the galleries of Asian arts. at first they are able to look at the galleries and choose the piece that they want to be inspired by. Okay. Then second, then they create some sort of toile inspired by the piece itself. A toile is like a muslin that they create to make sure all the pieces fit. With that said, then they can use actual patterns and fabric to create the look. So therefore, the designs come to life. I'm very privileged to be able to do this for my 8th Fashion Fusion. There's 9 Fashion Fusions, but I only started after the 2nd one, so it is really a privilege to do this. It's a privilege to make this connection with not only the Museum of Fine Arts, but the public as well, and then that they can see what our students are capable of doing with the art as inspiration.
The fashion program at HCC, the professors are brilliant. I've studied in Paris, in New York, and I have to say, it gets no better. They believe in us, their skill level is world class, and I feel really grateful to be here and be learning from them.
I just started researching so much about it and just like the concepts about it, like what the artists did, and just as much as I could find about the artists. And then from there, that's where I formed my sketches and everything, and I just like start putting out ideas down. I picked the one that I think would fit the art piece the best. From there, it's just pattern making, draping, and doing a bunch of mock-ups, and that's how I get my design.
Something I want the audience to take away from my design, which is the beautiful elements that are in this design, all the shapes, the darts in the front and the back, the style lines, all those little details, the buttons in the back, the hidden elements, to appreciate clothes more, to look really into what you're wearing and not just buy cheap stuff because it's cheap and we can wear it, but really appreciate quality and look more into smaller brands, independent people who put heart into the stuff that we do.
It's a Asian theme, and we're just, doing an updo with some twists, some good texture, because their outfits are very textured, so, just trying to put it all together with the hair, with the makeup.
I think one of my favorite things about Fashion Fusion is that we really get to be creative and, think out of the box and stuff, which is stuff we don't normally do at the salon. Her outfit is pretty interesting, to be honest. I don't know, she reminds me of like an anime character. There's a anime that's fairly new and it's popular, and it's called Dandadan, and there's a character called Acrobatic Silky, and that's what she reminds me of. She is wearing a hat, so we kind of just wanted to do something cool with braids and bring out the dress. We actually took wire and then we bought hair and we braided the hair around the wire so then we could bend it and maneuver it however we wanted to.
I've been doing Fashion Fusion since 2011 or 12. First we get the designs, and then I get the pictures of the models, and then I start just researching online and thinking about whatever the theme might be and to come up with the outcome. So, and I just try to think as creatively as possible so it's fun for everybody and we're not just doing the same thing we do in the salon every day to challenge ourselves. We're adding hair pieces to the hair. They look like this and they're gonna sit out like that, just to add some whimsy and something fun that is unexpected, so when they come out and walk, people will have a wow factor. It's real hair, but it's hair that you use for like braiding or extensions or weaves and things like that. I used a very sticky volumizing spray first to shape it, and then once that dried it wasn't firm enough, so I took clear Elmer's glue and hairspray, because the alcohol in the hairspray made it dry faster. But so I kind of combined the Elmer's glue and then I doused it really hard with a stiff rave hairspray and then let it dry in the sun for a day and a half.
A month ahead of time, he started making the pieces, and then a couple nights before we start putting the looks together, and then the day of we just go with the models.
But I just wanted whimsy and an element of surprise when they came out on the runway, so it wouldn't look so predictable, and that's what I was going for, and I wanted to challenge myself and my friends to do these styles and just have a lot of fun rather than just show up and do like a bun or a ponytail like most fashion shows want.
We're here to complement the outfits, so they're shown, they look amazing, and it's just a flow of beauty. It's amazing because you do get to have more creativity. It's fun to kind of match the style of the dresses and the theme of the evening, so we get to think outside the usual box. We prepared this look by the theme of the whole evening, then we'll look at the dresses, we'll look at the models to see what exactly we want to do. What I came here wanting to do has changed a little bit. Once you see it on the model, you can adapt it.
I got into modeling because I've always had a love for fashion, especially design and the whole creative process of fashion. When I was little, I used to draw and do designs like that and watch runway shows and things like that. So I've always kind of felt pulled to it, and I just love bringing the vision of a designer to life. I feel like that's such a unique position. Everyone's experience is a little bit different. You can get scouted, you can search out your own agency, or you can even do freelance. I'm signed with an agency that I searched out and applied for. I'm signed in Houston and New York. So just honestly putting in the work and going for what you want. I feel like a really big misconception about modeling is that it's really easy. It's not. Modeling is really hard work. I define it as really hard work. It's a lot of practice, it's a lot of commitment into what you do, because we're creatives as well. We're part of this creative process, so it's a really big dedication. Definitely a lot of practice and a lot of going into what you do.
I wanted to start modeling because I feel like with modeling you can kind of transform into a different character with everything you do. Especially this show. This is such a cool show where the outfits and the makeup are very editorial, and you don't always get to do that, and so it's really fun getting to kind of transform into someone that's not completely yourself. I think that's really fun. It's kind of like acting. In order to become a model, I think the first step is research agencies around you and start going to castings. Practice your walk, practice your model face, practice posing, go to a casting, be yourself, and see what happens from there, because you never know. I did take some classes with my agency, Neil Hamill, and it really helped me prepare for the modeling world because I really didn't know a lot, and so you really want to go into it having a solid walk, having solid posing skills and techniques, because that's how you book jobs, is knowing what you're doing. So confidence, yes. Of course, you don't have to be an expert, but I definitely did not go into my first job as an expert. I learned as I went through it, but know a little bit. You definitely can make a living off of being a model. I don't think that you should go into modeling thinking that is going to happen immediately, because it's definitely something that you have to work really, really hard for. Especially in Texas. Modeling in Texas is different than modeling in New York. And so you just have to be confident. You have to put a lot of work into booking jobs, into practicing your walk, practicing your posing, in order to have a career in this industry. It's definitely possible, and a lot of people do it, and I think it's awesome. I would love to do that, but it's going to take work and confidence.
I love gold jewelry. Being Persian, Indian, Pakistani, you just get a lot of gold jewelry growing up. So the piece I picked was a brooch, and it had rubies in it, pink rubies in it. And to me that stood out the most just because I would wear it, and then also has pink in it, which is my favorite color. And my dress was a very sparkly pink, different colored ruby tone dress that I ended up making to copy the piece. And my collection is based off of taking very classic, timeless pieces and adding some kind of like pop or drape to them. I was very inspired by like the 1950s Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, that like timeless, but like that pop of color or that drape that's on the dresses. So that's kind of what I was inspired by. So hopefully the judges kind of see that. It is my personal style. So
I have two looks. So one of them was inspired by the fine porcelain that is very prevalent in these high class societies of China and Korea and all these other countries. And so I wanted to really take that and just that kind of elegance that is very like delicate. I really wanted to balance that with the use of like a very satiny fabric with some tulle, and it's completely embellished with rhinestones as well to kind of give it a sparkle when it walks. So I'm very excited about that. And I also have a look from streetwear, which is going to be in the Korea gallery. It's completely made of buttons, and so I wanted to take that and take the colors, not necessarily the medium. So there's no buttons on the look, but there are a lot of hues of green, and it's completely patchwork together from old fabrics. So that is a look that I'm super excited about as well. I actually only recently started sewing. I got into it about 2 years ago, right when I joined the program. So it's a completely new world to me, but what I love about it is that it's living art. So really, like anything that you make, as soon as it goes from being flat on a table to on a person, it just comes to life. And I think that's what I'm so excited about the show, is seeing all these looks on these models in reference to art that is also alive. So it's just an absolutely wonderful experience.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. We are going to begin. Welcome to the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, and welcome to Fashion Fusion 9, Arts of Asia. I'm Caroline Gazer. I'm Chair of Learning and Interpretation here at the museum. And I want to let you know, those who don't, Fashion Fusion is a competition and runway show co-developed by Houston Community College's award-winning fashion design program and the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, yes. Over the last 9 years, students have created stunning original garments in response to our encyclopedic collections and our special exhibitions. This year, 12 HCC emerging designers have drawn their inspiration in response to our collections of Asian art. These artists have created 20 creative and innovative designs that will walk the runway tonight. The designs you see tonight have been previewed and will receive final scores this evening by our distinguished panel of judges. So when I call your name, would you please stand up? Chloe Dow, fashion designer, Chloe Dow. Kathy Lee, Vice President and General Manager, Neiman Marcus. And last but not least, Bradley Bailey, Ting Sung and Wei Feng Chow, Curator of Asian Art here at the museum. A production on this scale could not have happened without our generous partners and sponsors. So our retail sponsor for the last several years and this evening is the Galleria. Thanks so much. The creative designer and fashion show producer is Tamara Close-Bonar. Thank you so very much. And our Fashion Fusion stylist is Anthony Dowd. We have 4 wonderful beauty teams that worked with us tonight, and I want to thank them all. Dariana Vel Beauty, Dariana Velasquez. Hughes by Heather Hughes. Trey Gillen with Ballerinova Salon and team. And Volume Social Club with Sergio Morales. The models this evening are by the Neil Hamill Agency and Page Parks, Texas. Thank you so much. Photography this evening is by HCC Communications and video documentation by HCC TV. Thank you to all of those who have sponsored us. Thank you so much. This is a partnership between a college and a museum, and it's one of a kind as far as we know. I want to thank all of my colleagues at Houston Community College, especially Suzette Brimmer, who I'll introduce in a moment. Special thanks go to Andrea Bonner, Fashion Design Division Chair, Consumer Arts and Sciences. And we could not do this without Vi Hua, our fashion design professor at HCC. At the MFAH, there's so many people to thank. Thank you to our special events team, engineering and facilities. Everybody has helped us so much. But two people on my team have really gone way beyond the call of duty, and that is Yvonne Cacique and Nayeli Silva. Thank you so much to both of you. So now it's my great pleasure to introduce Suzette Brimmer, Vice President, Instructional and Student Services, Central College, Office of the President, HCC. Suzette, we've been working on this for 9 years plus, and it's just such an honor to continue working with you. Thank you so much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings from Houston Community College by way of the Museum of Fine Arts Houston. HC3 is thrilled to be partnering with one of the finest museums in the nation. This partnership further extends our mutual engagement with Houston at large, allowing us to combine resources, shared expertise, and multiple teaching and learning opportunities for our students. This year again, the Museum of Fine Arts kindly mentored HCC fashion students and inspired the design students that will soon grace the runway. Fashion Fusion relies on a contribution of Houston's finest, from the discerned culture of the Museum of Fine Arts, Houston, to the tradition of HCC's fashion professors who high expectation of craftsmanship is always upheld. HCC has produced internationally recognized designers through the creativity of our fantastic fashion leadership and the passion of our students, both of which will be on display for this spectacular event this evening. The Museum of Fine Arts and Houston Community College has developed a creative fashion competition, and tonight you will see one-of-a-kind garments designed by our HCC students under the influence of the Arts of Asia, Asian Exposition. The powerful partnership is a true mark of our cultural and curricular engagement with our community, and it is no mere coincidence that the excellence of our student fashion designers are the result of our professors, Vihua, Alexander Chapman, for their ambition and persistence of excellence, which is also supported by our outstanding fashion faculty. I'd like to take this moment to have our fashion faculty stand up so they can be recognized. Also, as part of our support, as our Central President, Dr. Butch Harrod, and his wife. Now we're ready for our favorite moment, seeing the work on the runway. Thank you for attending tonight's celebration of art, culture, and style. Thank you.
All right, well, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our MCs this evening. First of all, Amber Elliott, arts and philanthropy writer for the Houston Chronicle. Thank you so much, Amber. And It is a great pleasure to introduce Alex Chapman, Fashion Design Professor, HCC. Our incredible MCs. Thank you both so much. I'm going to hand it to you.
Howdy, everybody. It is such an honor to co-MC with you tonight. The timing could not be better. I don't know if y'all realize it's Paris Couture Fashion Week. And after getting to preview the looks you're gonna see tonight, I am confident that the next great talent is in this room. So let's talk about how it's gonna go down. Okay, the runway show happens first, and then Alex will explain how you guys can vote for the Audience Choice Award. Then you're gonna get to see the fashion one more time and meet the designers as they walk down the runway with the models. Then Alex and I are gonna announce the second and first place prize winners, an Audience Choice winner, and a surprise winner. You guys are in for a huge treat, so get your phones out and we'll start the show.
cheer for your favorite designer. Wasn't that an amazing show? For those of you who did notice our judges at the end of the runway, they have been carefully critiquing each look to select tonight's winners in each category. Now you, as an audience member, get to voice your opinion by casting your vote for your favorite look tonight. While we recap the looks and get to meet the designers, you can scan the QR code somewhere, okay? Or you can dial mfah.org/poll. After tonight's winners are announced, we will reveal who you chose as tonight's favorite. Amber,
Yes.
Audience, are you ready to meet the designers? Let's do it. Our first category, sustainable and unconventional. Our first designer is Emily Herrera. This is Emily's first of 2 looks, titled Sunrise Reverie, inspired by the Dawn Vase by Miyashita Zenji.
So beautiful. I love this color. Is it 2 pieces, top and skirt, or just is it one dress?
It is an ensemble.
Oh,
and
of course.
Amber, by the way, an audience, this is all dead stock material. So this material that Emily used was destined for a landfill, as for all the 5 designs in this category. Guys, just in case, there are the QR codes right there on both screens to your left and to your right. This is Emily Herrera, Sunrise Reverie. Our next designer is Cindy Obasi. This is the first of 2 entries from Cindy, titled Punk and Graffiti, inspired by Yama Sumitsuki Kaban by Kondo Yuzo.
So I didn't realize this is 3 pieces.
Absolutely.
So is it a crop top, corset, and pants?
That is correct.
So-
And a lot of these materials Cindy sourced in our fabric room, but almost all of it was in bags and on the floor.
So you're
should we-
saying I could get 3 outfits out of this?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm just making
Yes.
sure. The girl math checks out, you know?
Our next designer is Katika Hill. This is the first of 2 looks from Katika, titled Dragon Sky, inspired by the work Dragon Reflection by Ai Weiwei.
What is this made of?
It's
the construction is just incredible.
It's metal diamond mesh steel, and it looks amazing on the outside, but it's definitely dangerous to wear on the inside.
Oh, I love that.
Katika provided gloves so the person putting it on could not get cut.
So thoughtful. It reminds me a lot of something that Alexander McQueen might do, how
Oh,
structural
absolutely.
it is.
It's very structured, and she hand painted all of that.
Beautiful.
Our next designer is Maria Dievre. The title of her piece is A Dream of Nature, inspired by the T-screen by Shibata Jishin.
I feel like you told me there are some actual flowers incorporated into this design.
Well, actually, audience and Amber, the flowers were fresh, then painted, and then pressed onto the muslin.
Amazing. And is there a handbag situation
That
going
is
on
correct.
here for you? Okay.
And
Tell
again,
us about the bag.
Well, it's plastic, and those flowers are actually dried. And again, in all the pieces in this category, all of it is dead stock. Our next designer is Maria Hammond. The title of her piece is An Indian Princess Wedding, Jewel Blossoms, inspired by Indian earplugs, jewels of Mughal court.
So this look was inspired by earrings, essentially.
That's correct.
So pretty.
And by the way, Amber, this was a sari destined to be given to Goodwill that she acid dyed to have this geo print on the material. Again, folks, these garments have been given, or these materials have been given a second life. Thank you, Maria. Our next category, which is streetwear, sportswear. Our designer, Bailey Raber. The title of her piece is Veil of Ashes, inspired by Odyssey by Tsai Gyo Kyung.
I feel like she's wearing such a big trend right now with the sheer for the young people. I don't know if...
And yes, and Amber, by the way, these are dryer sheets hand painted by Bailey.
Love it.
Yeah, you see the So guys, ladies and gentlemen, anything can be fashion. Our next designer is Karina Commission. This is the first of 2 of her entries, titled Viridescent. The artwork is First Wind CL by Ron Wong, Korea.
Will you remind me what style of pant is that?
It is actually a mongpe pants. And a lot of Asian cultures have this type of utilitarian pants. And a lot of this, what Karina created with, are actually old tablecloths and placemats. Our next designer is Estefania Espendola. The title of her piece is Shadowed Garden. And this is the first of 4 entries from Estefania. So we'll see her 3 more times, ladies and gentlemen. And this piece is inspired by Sudop Gupta.
Beautiful. I love how wearable this is.
Well, Amber,
it looks simple, but I know that a lot of work went into it. It's so elegant, and the details up close are breathtaking.
She knitted the entire thing, she dyed the yarns, she wove everything, she hand stitched everything, and she embellished everything. Our next designer is Luis Sanchez. The title of his piece is Maria. Artwork inspired is 2 beauties shaving down human life, Japanese.
And so is that a belt that's on top of it?
That is correct. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in Amber, you see that the obi sash, he hand embellished the sash to reflect the artwork that he chose.
And what's that embroidery? Is it sequins or
It is sequins, it is glass, it is metal, and the actual material is just plain denim.
Denim?
It is a beautiful work of art, and if you see real close the style lines, it's amazing. Thank you, Luis. And closing out the category is Andrea Neal. The title of her piece, First Night of Fiesta, inspired by First Wind CL by Ron Wong.
And on the bottom, like near the hem of this dress, what building is that? It looks familiar.
It is the Alamo, where she came from, but it's inspired like Hwang's piece, that it's an amazing structure in Korea. She did that with the Alamo.
Beautiful.
Our next category is evening wear and cocktail. Designer is Karina Commission.
And this is her second look, right?
That's correct. The title of her piece is Shatterproof Porcelain Ensemble, and it's inspired by a blue and white porcelain jar from the Joseon Dynasty, Korea.
So even though this is evening wear, she's wearing shorts.
Well, there are no more rules.
I could get behind that. New rules.
Yes. Our next designer is Fatma Khan. The title of her piece is Shades of Ruby. Fatma was inspired by a Balinese late 19th century brooch.
And this one also is 2 pieces, is that right?
Actually, it's a beautiful long evening dress accentuated by these iridescent paillette sequins.
Barbie pink, still alive and well. I'll
Never
take
going
that
away.
Sequel, yes.
Our next designer is Bailey Raber. This is the second of Bailey's looks. The title of her piece is Blooming Fusion. It's inspired by a 19th century hair ornament from Tamil Nadu, India.
This silhouette is so dramatic. It's stunning. Do you know how long it took her?
Well, the process of making one of these pieces is they have to create a toile out of muslin first. So she has an exact same piece out of muslin to make sure that everything works and fits, and then the materials then cut and chosen. And by the way, all of these exquisite materials are sourced by Bailey from India.
Well, it is tailored to perfection.
It is beautifully designed. Thank you, Bailey. Our next designer is Estefania Espandola. This is the second of 4 of her looks, titled Metallic Waves, inspired by the Artificial Rock number 83 by Jean Wang.
I love how dramatic the one shoulder detail is. How heavy is it?
It's quite lightweight because this is silver lame backed up with just tulle.
Well, how does she get it to sit so perfectly on the shoulder then?
A lot of ruching and a lot of tacking. Thank you, Estefania. And closing out the category is Jennifer Valencia. The title of her work is Dreams, inspired by an 18th century ritual vessel from the Joseon dynasty, Korea.
And this is Mikado taffeta, right?
That is correct.
I mean, this is screaming for a royal wedding. It's just so beautiful. And what piece is it inspired by?
The 18th century ritual vessel from the Joseon dynasty.
You can really see, the scalloped details on the front, how it's inspired by.
And I think there's a transformation.
Oh my gosh.
And honestly, this is beautifully designed and sewn. It's meticulously crafted and just form-fitting to the T. Thank you, Jennifer. Our next category, avant-garde and conceptual. Designer, Cindy Obasi. This is Cindy's second of 2 looks, titled Unhinged Harajuku, inspired by Nakamura Masui III as Otaki by Hokushu.
Okay, I love the hat.
Oh, the hat is everything.
Completes the look.
Yes. And the thing about it, audience, you've got to look at the detail, the craftsmanship of the bustier. It's incredibly done, Amber. Our next designer is Estefania Espandola. The title of her piece is Rainfall Symphony, and this is the 3rd entry from Estefania out of 4, and is inspired by 1985 by Li Ufan.
You can really see that in the ribbons. Are they velvet? Are they leather?
They are velvet, and it's a 2-piece. It's actually a bolero type top. Our next designer is Emily Herrera. The title of her piece is Fading Permanence, inspired by the Odyssey by Sai Gyo Kyang.
I love the high neck on this. It's so dramatic with, what do you call the detail around the waist? It's not peplum.
It's actually created by boning. And like with Bailey, Emily also had to create a muslin before she can actually cut the fabric. And again, many of these materials are dead stock.
It's hard to imagine.
It is beautiful. It is very Alexander McQueen.
Very.
The detail lacing in the back is just extremely exquisite. Our next designer is Estefania Espandola. This is the fourth of her pieces, titled Golden Core. Estefania was inspired by a 19th century hair ornament from Tamil Nadu, India.
That is some really elevated body jewelry.
Yes, it is beautifully done, but if you actually see the piece right here on the screen, she kind of mimics this with a beautiful applique that she sourced overseas. And closing out our category, Katika Hill. The title of her piece is Sculptured Flow, inspired by Artificial Rock, number 83 by Zhan Huang.
I love all the train moments we're having tonight.
Well, I'm glad that you pointed that out, folks, because this is an actual nobori, an authentic nobori that Japanese shopkeepers hang vertically outside their stores.
Wow.
And this is an actual antique piece that she incorporated as her train. It's hand painted and it's just beautifully done.
How did she source it?
We gave it to her. Okay, so audience, did you love the designers? Can we hear you say it again?
Before we announce the winners, here's what they get. Second place winners get a free fashion course at HCC.
That's correct. Yes.
Once I announce your name, will you please come forward and let everyone applaud and celebrate you? Okay. The second place winners for Sustainable and Unconventional is an Indian princess, Maria Hammond. For streetwear and sportswear, Veil of Ashes by Bailey Reber. For evening wear and cocktail, Dreams by Jennifer Valencia. And for avant-garde and conceptual, Fading Permanence by Emily Herrera. Congratulations to our first round of winners. Moving into our first place winners, who will each receive a scholarship to the Glassell School of Art, and Caroline will present these awards. So the first place winner for Sustainable and Unconventional is Dragon Sky. For streetwear and sportswear, Shadow Garden by Estefania Espindola. For evening wear and cocktail, Blooming Fusion by Bailey Reber. And for avant-garde and conceptual, Rainfall Symphony by Estefania Espindola.
Voting has closed for the audience choice, and your opinions have been heard. The audience choice winner for Fashion Fusion 9 is Maria Diavre for A Dream of Nature.
I'm also honored to announce a surprise award on behalf of the Houston Chronicle and the Galleria. We'd like to award Best in Show prize for tonight to Katika Hill for Dragon Sky. Well, that does it for our show tonight. It has been such an honor to co-MC and to see all the beautiful work that you guys have spent so much time and effort putting into your designs. We are all blown away. Please enjoy Cullinan Hall and venture into some of the Asian art galleries that have inspired the looks you saw tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
The category for this one is streetwear. Streetwear category also, I thought it was a clever move to put it in that category because it is something that you can wear every day. You don't have to have a cocktail party to actually wear this. And I think what happened in the competition was that it's something that you would not see in knitwear. When you think about knitwear, you think about like just regular sweaters, and you don't think that you can make like a nice piece out of like yarn, like grandmas used to knit, you know? So like, I feel like I always like to put that modern touch in those hand knits because it's like trying to make people think that knitwear doesn't have to be old or old-fashioned. I think I learned more in these last years of sewing than in my whole life. You know, I thought I knew how to sew, but when I went there, their level of the way they teach and I don't know, it's just like their knowledge, it's amazing. There was a lot to be inspired by, a lot. So I had to narrow it down, and I had 4 pieces in this show because really a lot of these pieces spoke to me, and I narrow it down just because of time. So there was this wall piece in the Indian section, and so the Indian artist created a huge metal. It's like all sold together pieces like of metal, like silver, and it's round and it's huge. So I thought, okay, wow, this looks like something that I could embroider. I love embroidering and I love hand knitting. So I was like, how can I make this, into one wearable garment? And I was like, I'm not going to make one very similar because I don't like copying the artist, right? But I did like putting different embellishments together. And I thought also what he was trying to do is what he used was very common materials that you could have at home, like kitchen pans. Or so if you look at the art piece out like from the distance, you just see a big metal piece, but when you look up close, you identify those items individually. So I thought of making a black garden. And this is the one that I'm talking about. So all these are like hand knitted flowers out of mohair yarn. There are about 60 something flowers. And each one of those is embellished with hand embroidery with different pieces. I try not to use the same piece for each one. So they're all different. And if you get like close, you can see all the different pieces. They have all different designs. So this would be the representation of that same art piece. And then I thought of the volume that I wanted to incorporate, as it was a big round piece. I thought of making big round sleeves to make it very bulky at the top and very slimming at the bottom. So that's the idea out of this. I hand knitted the whole thing. It took me over a month to knit everything and try on. And every time you don't like what you make, you have to unravel everything and then put it back in the piece. So it was fun. It was fun. And this piece is another category that I participated in. It was the avant-garde, which is usually very something that you could be thinking about more like wearable art. It's not necessarily something that you would wear anywhere in particular, but like it's something that it's outstanding and shocking, right? So the idea out of this one came from a painting. And I usually don't get inspired by paintings. I usually get inspired more by sculptures and things that have volume. But this painting was like dark rain. It was all black stripes coming down. And I was like, what a great idea for a garment. And I created this one. This is intentionally like an upside down bustier, so it holds, right? And these are pants, but it's like a deceiving skirt because it looks like a skirt, but it's pants with very, very comfortable ones, and it has pockets. So I thought of using those black stripes as a fringe to go all the way down. So as when you move, it creates that flow with the pants, and the structure here is to give it some kind of like a signature that I have, when I put bulky things to stand out. This was one of my favorite looks, so I'm glad it won. I think they are both very feminine pieces, but they project some kind of confidence as the model was walking down. It is not romantic. It is just like powerful and very modern look of a woman, And I feel that's kind of like where I want to go in like woman, the point of view of a woman. I want women to feel powerful, and I want women to feel important, and they can turn heads as they walk. And this is what I think this one especially did, because the way it flows, the way it stands, it's like a combination of still and flowy. And it's just, I don't know, I feel like my model was so pretty walking down with this outfit, and the way she was, the makeup and hair that they do at the museum is also so amazing. I'm very grateful for that.
This is my first place. This is an evening wear outfit called Blooming Fusion, and this is actually inspired by a couple different things. The first being that in the museum, in the Arts of Asia collection, there is a Indian hair ornament that is on display that is used and worn during Indian weddings. Now that's typically for the South Indian weddings, whereas my husband, who's from India, he's from the western side, the state of Gujarat. And so my collection actually is It's inspired by the fusing of our two cultures, and I'm from the Western culture and he's from India, and that's where Indo-Western wear is born. And so it kind of worked out really well that something I was already planning to work on actually fit very great with this theme, and that I was able to showcase it. I think that this won because it screams Indian without being too Indian. And that's kind of the point that I was going with. When you fuse two different cultures, there's kind of a specific way you do it. You don't just take the prints and you make a blazer out of it that looks American. You have to fuse multiple different aspects in different ways. So I kind of gave the skirt to make it look more like a sari, except, saris are one giant piece wrapped around that goes across and has a blouse underneath. And so I switched it up a bit. The skirt gives the more sari effect. The top is very much like a blouse underneath. But right now in Indian culture, they are putting out a lot of different beadworks on their lehengas and their garments that they wear in weddings, which is very modern. That's not how they used to do things. So I gave the modern twist of adding the beadwork and then specifically choosing not just bright colors, but a print that can also very much be worn in Western culture here as well, to be able to fuse the two together.
I came to HCC to learn more about fashion, like the technical side of how to put everything together. My mother was a fashion designer, and I used to help her with sewing and making dresses and cutting out patterns. I mean, I didn't like it, but that's kind of like where I got it from. I guess as you get older, you kind of like turn into your mom, That's the only explanation I can get for that. I just started liking it. I love fashion. It's like a form of art, and I like putting together the pieces of the puzzle. That's the fun part about it. It's like you're creating a puzzle and making everything come together. I was inspired by Ai Weiwei, and I liked the way that the sculpture had all of the unconventional materials, and it actually became like this dragon. So I was very inspired by that one piece of art. I looked at so many other things, but that was the one thing that stuck out in my mind. I thought about the dragon and I thought about the clouds, and then I was like, how can I make this out of a dress and then make it look like it was inspired by that piece? So I just took the materials and put it together and made it wearable. Sustainable and unconventional and best of show. I think they chose it because it was different. It was not like anything else. It's kind of funny to say that somebody could actually wear that. And I think that's to see a girl coming down the runway with a big cloud on, I think because it was different. I see clouds, I see the sky, and I did the beads to resemble raindrops. Like, 'cause when we have weather, sometimes it's nice and beautiful, and then sometimes it may rain. So that's why I did the beading in different areas to kind of resemble the weather. I made sure that the metal was shaped where it could fit a woman's figure and still give her room to be able to move around in it. And I created another regular garment underneath to hide the holes and everything of the iron mesh.
I came to HCC because from all my research that I've done of schools in Texas, it was one of the best ranked. Actually, this is a big career shift for me. I had already graduated in something completely different in public administration, and then I realized that actually after a few ventures, such as I had a little business where I sold earrings that I handcrafted, and after that made me realize that I actually really liked sewing, and when I saw the possibilities of a career in fashion, that really made me very enthusiastic about it. So I decided to pursue fashion. When I signed up actually for HCC last year, it was a bit of a trial to see if that was really what I liked. And eventually, the semester went on and the competition happened, and that just made me sure that that's where I really want to go.
It was a very good experience to come to the Asia gallery. There was a lot to pick for, but I wanted to choose something from Japan, and I ended up choosing a tea screen from a 19th century artist called Shibata Zeshi. And it's a very simple tea screen, not bigger than this size. And it shows a nature scene, very calm, very peaceful. And I immediately got inspired by that. Also bringing in other references that I know of Japan is related to the tea culture, the tea ceremony, and their admiration that they have for nature and for all that. So it was a no-brainer for me to pick that piece of art. The nature scene inspired me to create a dream of nature, which is this piece. I wanted to bring this sort of ethereal and light and calmness that when you are facing nature, you feel that. So I chose, fabrics that reflect light as if you're looking as the water is, you look at a water stream running down and you see that brightness, and I wanted that lightness. Also, I was very inspired. There's a little bird in the tea screen, and I was inspired by the lightness and the movement, and looking at the kimono shape, which is what I got inspired for. I wanted to bring this sort of like feeling of lightness using this sheer organza fabric. I also hand pleated that, which is a lot of Japanese designers such as Issei Miyake, they do that technique. And I, with this, when the model is walking on that, this almost like flies and floats, and it really remembers you of the bird movement and of nature overall. The train was the hardest part to make, actually, because I dyed that train with flowers, and real flowers, which is also a Japanese technique called tatakizome. And it's a very long train, and that I had to, hammer down the flowers to have their pigment directly engraved into the fabric. So that took me a long time and a lot of strength on my wrist to do that. And I also complemented that with some origamis. Like you can see here, I added some butterfly origamis, which of course are a reference to nature and to a Japanese technique that is very well known. So that was, I used all those techniques, and this is part of the kimono, the obi, that's what they call the obi sash. And yeah, I just wanted to mix all these references together. This was actually the audience choice. So it was, everyone that was there voted at the moment for this piece. And it was very interesting because a lot of people actually throughout the week that I met at school or even other places, people that I had not known but that came to the competition, they told me they voted for it. And for several reasons, such as they were really inspired by the colors. A lot of them were very inspired by the kimono shape. Some people talked to me, they said that they had been to Japan and they loved to see on the runway a kimono, really, and but also reinvented with other techniques and other shapes. So a lot of people were really, they really care about Japan. I feel like Japan has such an impactful dominance culturally for all of us. We all think of something of Japan, and it's something that evokes in us a really strong feeling. I feel like everyone knows what a kimono is, and I think a lot of people like to see that on the runway and the mix of different techniques. So the flower printing, the origami. Also, you cannot see here, but the model was wearing origami earrings. So it's a bit of everything, and I feel people were really touched by that.
I won't let anything out of the bag, but next year is our 10th year, and we are planning something different. And we're still in conversation, but do stay tuned because we're very excited to celebrate 10 years. It's a really long time, and actually there was a pandemic in between, so we're probably going to be in our 11th year. So yes, we're going to do something very, very special, so stay tuned.
Learning looks like this, and it also looks like...
I didn't just study buildings. I connected them with tech to make them smarter.
I'm learning healthcare management while providing patient care.
I worked with these control systems way before I even started the job.
I'm not just studying agriculture. I'm learning how to grow for the future.
I came back to grow my skills even after I graduated.
I'm not just studying AI, I'm designing solutions to make the world a better place for us all.
And if I can't make it in person, I take my classes online.
So, where do you start?
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.